And welcome to Chat CANNA for the Tuesday version. Yes, it's been one of those crazy winters where it's just throat problem after throat problem. And those of you that have known me for many years, I've got old man's throat now. It's just a sound. But one more trip to the doctor. I mean, all I've done since this crazy stay-at-home stuff has started is I go between here and Grand Forks and Fargo. That's kind of my triangle. And I visit doctors. Otherwise, I am basically homebound. And that's fine because it does give me the opportunity to get a lot of work done. I'm either here or at our other hemp location, where right now, matter of fact, after this show, I'm going to be attending a farm meeting, a regional farm meeting of the farm organization I'm in. And then I'll be over there. And tonight we're melting 9 more pounds of beeswax as we turn it into the products that we made. But right now it's Chat CANNA, and I've got 3 interesting stories for you, including one that's very, very political. And I'm going to take sides on it because just some things are happening in this country that are just seem to be unusual. And so you're going to have to wait for that. We've got a couple of other interesting stories that are going to go by rather quickly. And then we are going to just really ask the question, can the governor go find a judge and change what the people have voted for? And I will be asking the question. It's up to you to provide the answer. And I hope that you do down below in any of the comments, or of course, email me, at any of the various places that you can here. It's listed all over. But first, let's do some fun, little quicker stories. Everybody knows, of course, about Isaiah Thomas. He played basketball for 13 seasons for the Detroit Pistons. And even I, not a basketball fan of much interest at all, knew who Isaiah Thomas was. He is putting $3 million of his own company in his own company called One World Pharma. They grow hemp and actually the other full-strength stuff in Colombia, folks. But he became CEO of One World Pharma last summer, and their headquarters are in Las Vegas. But they have 30 acres where they cultivate down in Popayan, Colombia. And down there, that's where they do the more get you high stuff. But he's put $3 million into it that's where they're raising their seeds. So, people say, well, this is a flash in the pan. It's coming and going, whatever. Here's a guy that's putting $3 million into it. And obviously he's got some people advising him. This just hit the newsstands here 41 minutes ago. So that's what's happening there. There's a Michigan company in the news today. They are making hemp tea. Of course, you can make your own hemp tea if you want. If you want to go buy buds, you don't make it any different than you make tea. You put it in you can do anything you want. You can put it in a folded, paper that lets tea make, like you buy a Lipton tea bag, or you can put it in a metal thing with a lot of holes in it that you screw up, a tea ball, as they call it. Or you can just put it in the water and let it settle to the bottom. They all work. But there is a company in Michigan called Total Life Changes, and they have a tea called Lasso Tea, and he is suing them because their label says it contains 0% THC as evidenced through independent laboratory tests. Now, of course, that's the big question, is what is zero? Zero probably is, well, it doesn't measure on our meter, therefore it's zero. But is anything ever really zero? Because, that's like the parts per million that are in your foods that you eat. All your cereal has Roundup in it. Sorry. All your cereal has Roundup in it. It just depends on how good of a machine you have to test it. Roundup now is everywhere in the world. Sorry. So when you say it's Roundup free, it just means that it's Roundup free based on the capability that we can go down to parts per million. And what that means is if you're checking milliliters per million, then a milliliter is, that's this little, I got to get my camera. When I have a news article here, I don't have my camera up so I can see exactly what I'm showing you. So let me get to that. There I am. Okay, good. See these little marks on here? Those are milliliters. So in a million of those, that's one of them. But it works the same for gallons. If you had 1 million gallons of something, then there would be a gallon of that in a million. How much is 1 million? The water tank in Crookston is 250,000 gallons, if that gives you anything to compare it by. So anyway, that's what they talk in ppm, parts per million, or ppb, parts per billion. So everything can be tested, and that's what this guy claimed, is he sent his tea away and it came back showing that there was some THC in his tea. He is on parole. He failed a drug test after drinking the tea. He called it extremely shocking and sent the tea to a test. And now he's trying to put a class action suit against the tea maker. And but the tea maker, of course, has come back and asked the federal judge in New Jersey to dismiss the case because he didn't lose his parole status and he didn't lose his job or anything like that. So they're saying he didn't really lose anything. And therefore, he doesn't have a case. And that's an interesting thing in court. Because, you know, if you go to court and want to get money back for something, you have to show loss. It's pretty hard to just show that they, embarrassed me, for instance. You have to show that the embarrassment was pretty significant to just, if somebody just laughed at you a little bit, that's not going to work. So anyway, now the company website has changed their descriptions on their product to say, we do not recommend use if you are subject to drug testing. Because I'm telling you, folks, if the case was that if you had any Roundup in your system, you could lose a drug test or get fired for it, you can't eat breakfast cereal. This is how these kind of things have become pervasive in our society. And, the irony was it might not have been just the tea that the guy was drinking. It could have been other things, that it was a collage effect, that he got some because he really liked the tea and he drank 5-6 cups all at once before he had the test, along with some other things he took that day. Maybe he's taking some CBD oil that has some in it. Because, testing, we send it away for testing. Our tester here says, it can't go below 0.2%. That's as low as my machine can test. That's way below the legal limit. Therefore, when we test and get down to that low, we just know that our client is safe from the federal testing situation. We don't say that it doesn't have any THC in it. So this is the conundrums that are out in the world and facing us. It's no different than getting drug tested when you've had 2 or 3 poppy seed muffins for breakfast just before you got your drug test. Poppy seeds come from the same plant, poppies, that make heroin. And you can get busted for that. It depends on how carefully calibrated their machine is or how close they're checking you. So it's an interesting thing, because here the tea maker did say on their label that, it contains 0. But it's because they got a report back from their tester, maybe even one of the 13 federally approved testers in the United States, that it doesn't show any THC. They were telling the truth. They put the truth on their bottle. The guy takes the test. sends it to a more significant lab, or after he gets binged, because the people that might be testing him have a tester that's super sensitive. But, you know, he also might have been out at a party the night before and somebody was actually smoking marijuana that was significantly high in THC, and they were exhaling it, and he happened to just be passing them by in the hallway going to the bathroom and happened to inhale a whole bunch of that, and that was enough in his system to give the test the next day. Do you see how complicated this makes life for everybody? So now here, the tea provider is getting blamed for this, but it can't be proven. The only way it could be proven if he was in a quarantine situation for however many number of days that it would take for this to leave his body, and then drink 2 cups of tea, and then be tested at the proper interval and see if they then got the test that they were going to get. I'm going to take this, by the way. This is from our friends down at Prairie Products in Fargo. And this one is designed for focus and energy. It's CBD, and then I think they added some ginger and stuff to it. It tastes pretty good. Remember, I don't have a good taster. My taste and smell are pretty much gone. But I'm going to take two milligrams of it and put it under my tongue and just leave it there. And that's just great. So that's the 2 quickie stories. Now we get to a very serious story, and I'm very upset about this. You know that I don't try and play politics. I don't take sides in like who won the presidential election or here in Minnesota. I have strong political feelings. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know is a refrain of mine a lot. But I do know this. In November, South Dakota, the population of South Dakota voted heavily to do something that a state has never done before. And that is to make legal medical marijuana, as Minnesota has and North Dakota has and many states now have, and to bring in recreational marijuana. And they did that all at once. No state has ever done that before. They always brought in medical for a while, and then the 14 states that have a recreational have brought it on at some time after. But South Dakota went for it. They voted for it. That was the will of the people. And now the governor, who did not want it, went and found a judge who said that there was some irregularities, didn't like the way that the wording was of the amendment that the people passed. And so he said that it's not valid and is throwing it out. Do you think that's right? I do not think that's right. The people voted for something that was clearly written out. I don't think a 6th grader could misunderstand what was stated in that document. There was no reason that a voter would not be able to clearly understand, do I want this or not? Do I not want this? And the state voted overwhelmingly that they want it. And then it was up to the legislature in the state to make it laws. It's clear cut. But all of a sudden, the governor found a judge that reversed it. I really disagree with that. I do not think that legislatures anywhere should have the power to override a majority of the people. What do you think? Please let us know in the comments below anywhere that you're watching us on. If you're watching us on Facebook, please like us. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe. We need more subscribers, please. And then hit the little bell so you'll always know when we're broadcasting to bring you another show. And if you're watching us on Twitch, thank you so much. You are in the first group of people that are watching us on Twitch, and we appreciate you very much. This is a harsh show today. I have strong feelings about this. I don't care if it's a state that votes Republican and then the Democratic governor decided to change it. I don't care if it's a state that votes Democrat and the Republican governor decided to change it. I think it's wrong, however it went down. And I just think this was wrong, and it should not happen. And those people need to take action in that state. And by taking action, I do not mean anything at all like what happened in Washington. I mean that they need to get loud with their local congressmen and representatives that go to their state capital, and they need to get on the phone with them, and they need to send letters to them, and they need to send email to them and say, this is not acceptable. And they need to say, if you don't do something about it, we're going to vote you out next fall or in 2 years when it comes. And if that doesn't work, they're going to just start voting out the governor. This has got to be something we take action on. That's Chat CANNA for today. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.